Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call halal Yahweh, Hashem Yahweh Shai, Hashem Kodash. And of course, double honors once again go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who continue through the Holy Spirit to give us His truth. All right, and they are our teachers, and you see our teachers. All right, they're out there for everyone to see. All right, this is Nama with the DC camp, and I'm sure by now most of you have seen. Hey, and it's just getting started. The shit show that is the Cal Rittenhouse. These are just prelims, all right. So they're letting you know right off the top, all right, that they're showing favoritism to this guy. The judge so far has not let it be a secret that he's for this kid. All right. Well, he's not a kid, first of all. Let's get that straight. That appears to be. I was going to go into that later, but now since I put it out there, this is a constant issue with Edomites, so-called white people. All right. And throughout all their history, you see he's become the darling of America. All right. He's so precious. All right. He's so innocent. All right. He just murdered two people and injured the third. So you know that things are probably in your favor. All right. When the judge tells the prosecution, you can't call the people that he killed victims. You can only call them, what did he say? I know looters was one. But the other one I can't think of it, but they weren't convicted of anything. All right, so wow. If anything, you would think they would have asked, I'm talking about the prosecution, for this judge to recuse himself. That may happen, later down the road. I don't know. But still, this is some shit. And for all you people that still believe that we as a people can still make it in America, I don't have nothing to say to you. I was gonna, fuck you. I mean, all the things that have been thrown in your face the last, hell, let's just say 10 years. All right, you're a lost cause. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this. It's really not much. I'm just gonna add a few scriptures down the line, but wow, this so-called white man is being revealed. All right, that's why when we bring up scriptures like Isaiah 25:7 about this veil, this covering cast has been lifted. All right, and Second Thessalonians second chapter. All right, where hey, we just got to go to it. Once again, this cat. He's being revealed for the devil that he is, and it's only going to get worse. All right. This is Second Thessalonians 2:4. It says, well, let's start at 3. It says, let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, destruction, who opposeth and exalted himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped, so that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, shewing himself that he is the Most High. All right. Trust in our science. They've created an idol with this Maxine shit. All right. They want everybody to get juiced. I've got something here that'll even came out. What's this bitch talking about? God made the scientists, and they even had this picture with the with their they redid the painting that's on the Sistine Chapel where you have God and you have the angels and touching Adam's finger and he's butt naked and all that. Well, now they have Adam giving God a vaccination. Yeah. Wow. It says, remember ye not that when I was with you, I told you these things, and now ye know that what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. So he's been given the go ahead to do these things, all right, because the Most High is cutting this devil's time short. It's that time. You know, as it says in Matthew 24 and 22, you know, unless, and I'm paraphrasing, unless the time is cut short, no flesh will be saved. Let's go ahead.
Shotgun in my face, fighting just to live. The shotgun takes my place. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace. There'll be no peace until there's justice.
Give Us Justice by Three Sacred Souls. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. Kyle Rittenhouse's defense team continued to make its case in court Wednesday, calling Rittenhouse himself to testify. Now 18 years old, Rittenhouse was 17 when he went to Kenosha, Wisconsin during last summer's racial justice protests with his AR-15 style rifle. He faces homicide and weapons charges for fatally shooting 2 people and wounding a third during protests over the police shooting of Jacob Blake in 2020. He's pleaded not guilty. At one point, Kyle Rittenhouse broke down in tears while on the stand. He admitted to using deadly force but claimed self-defense and denied intending to kill his victims during cross-examination from prosecutor Thomas Binger.
I don't understand. You said you were going to bring the gun to protect yourself. So you thought you were going to be in danger, right?
I didn't think I would be put into a situation where I would have to defend myself.
Meanwhile, trial judge Bruce Schrader continued to make headlines after he repeatedly sided with the defense while excoriating prosecutors. At one point, while the prosecutor questioned Rittenhouse, Judge Schrader chastised Binger for asking about testimony he said was out of bounds.
Your Honor, Mr. Binger is either forgetting the court's rulings or attempting to provoke a mistrial in this matter. He knows he can't go into this, and he's asking the questions. I asked the court to strongly admonish him, and the next time it happens, I'll be asking for a mistrial with prejudice. He's an experienced attorney, and he knows better.
Mr. Binger? First of all, Your Honor, this was the subject of a motion. I'm well aware of that. And the court left the door open.
For me, not for you.
When the prosecution tried to show video evidence of Rittenhouse fatally shooting his first victim, the judge appeared to support the defense's attempt to stop him using a pinch and zoom function, claiming it could insert additional pixels.
This is high risk, and to me, if you insert more data into an area of space, well, you're wagging your head no. Tell me where I'm wrong.
There's no proof in this record that we're doing that, Your Honor.
I didn't say there was proof of it. I said you have the burden of proof. You're the proponent of the exhibit, and you need to tell me that it's reliable.
The exhibit's already in evidence, Your Honor.
That I know.
The judge would not allow the pinch and zoom function of the iPad unless an expert testified that pixels weren't being added. Meanwhile, the judge's cell phone went off while the court was in session and played a ringtone for the song God Bless the USA by Lee Greenwood, which is the opening song played at Donald Trump's rallies.
And if the court makes a finding that the actions that I had talked about bad faith.
Rittenhouse's defense team has now asked for a mistrial with prejudice in the case, and if one is granted, Rittenhouse cannot be retried. But the judge did not immediately rule on the request and said jury deliberations could begin on Monday. One other key point that came up this week during the trial, a pathologist testified that Kyle Rittenhouse's victim, Joseph Rosenbaum, was shot 4 times by someone who was within 4 feet of him. He also testified Rosenbaum was first wounded in the groin and then in the hand and thigh as he faced Rittenhouse, and then was shot in the head and in the back. For more, we're joined by 2 guests. In Raleigh, North Carolina, Bree Newsom-Bass is with us. She's an artist and anti-racist activist. In 2015, after the massacre of 8 African-American parishioners and their pastor by the white supremacists at the Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, Bree scaled the 30-foot flagpole at the South Carolina State Capitol and removed the Confederate flag. Yesterday, she was tweeting the trial nonstop. And with us in New York, Elie Mystal is with The Nation. He's its justice correspondent, author of the magazine's monthly column, Objection. He wrote about this case in a piece headlined, "I hope everyone is prepared for Kyle Rittenhouse to go free." You wrote that before the trial, Elie. Talk about why you think this is going to be the case.
Yeah, Amy, I don't have a crystal ball, all right? What I know is the law, and what I know is what white people are willing to do to defend white supremacy.
There you go.
If you look at this judge, if you look at his pretrial motions, if you look at his pretrial decisions in this case, remember, Rittenhouse has been in and around the jail since he shot those people in Wisconsin last summer. So if you look at all the decisions that Bruce Schroeder has made, they have been heavily balanced and weighted towards Rittenhouse, towards his defense. I see very few neutral decisions in his history. What we have is a judge who, from my perspective, has prejudged the trial in favor of Rittenhouse and has decided, again, even at the pretrial stage, to use every bit of his power to put his thumb on the scale towards Rittenhouse's side, and that was obvious before the trial started. I think now that the trial is going on, it's a little even more obvious to people how hostile he is to the prosecution, how much he's taking Rittenhouse's side, and how he is slanting the whole case. He's basically not allowing the prosecution to put on its case against Rittenhouse. It's almost like he wants the prosecution to put on a different case against Rittenhouse, and already has determined that the boy is not guilty. So that's why I was able to say 2 weeks ago the boy was going to walk, and nothing that's happened in the trial so far has changed my opinion on that.
And the issue of not being able to refer to the men who were killed and the other one who was repeatedly shot as victims, though they could be referred to as looters or arsonists if the defense proved that?
Yeah, so here's the thing, Amy. Any one of his decisions you could defend, right? Any one of his decisions, if you take it in isolation, makes sense. But this is actually one of the things that racists do, right? It's one of the fights that we always have trying to explain what racism is to people. Because if you look at individual decisions, you can say like, oh, well, that wasn't racially biased, or that decision wasn't racially biased. But when you put them in, when you look at them all together, when you look at the totality of his decisions, right? So it's not just saying that these people can't be called victims. Look, legally speaking, they were victims of homicide. That's just a fact, but fine. You want to say they can't be called victims because of the nature of the self-defense defense? All right, you can kind of defend that decision. But then he says
how they play around with words and their definitions,
arsonists, which is ridiculous. The surviving victim hasn't been charged with looting, rioting, or arson. So calling him a victim is just factually inaccurate. So calling him a rioter is just factually inaccurate. So you see what I'm saying? When you put the 1 and 1 together, you end up with 2. When you put 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 together, you end up with 5. And that's what Schroeder is. He has made a series of decisions. Each one perhaps may be individually defensible, but in totality lead to the impression of a biased, racist judge with his Trump rally cell phone that is trying to get Rittenhouse a walk.
Let me bring Bree Newsome-Bass into this conversation. Bree, you were tweeting up a storm yesterday. On Wednesday, you tweeted, "Nothing says safety and security in the USA like a teenage white boy roaming around with an assault rifle. Can't imagine why folks in the street might react to that." Talk about this broader context of why Rittenhouse was in Kenosha, where he doesn't live. He lives in another state in Illinois and carrying this AR-15 at the age of 17.
Yeah, well, this kind of goes back to Ellie's point, right, of who gets to assert victimhood, who gets to assert self-defense. So we know that, I mean, even apart from the long history of collaboration between police forces, white supremacist organizations, and white militias, we have a very recent history of this as well. We've had situations where police kill someone, there is protesting, and then in addition to the police presence in the street, which is a problem, we have white militia groups showing up, white supremacist organizations showing up. We saw that in Ferguson, we saw that in Minneapolis, and we saw that in Kenosha. And I think one of the things that is being kind of glossed over here is the fact that that is exactly the element that Kyle Rittenhouse belongs to. I know that it can't be introduced as evidence in the court, but we all know that he was at a bar during this time that he was on release from jail with Proud Boys, buying him drinks as an underage person, right? So that is the larger reality. The other thing that I think is important is that the history of judges who are sympathetic to white supremacists has a very long history as well. One of the moments that really struck me yesterday was when the prosecutor was questioning Rittenhouse on his knowledge of ammunition and brought up the issue of hollow point bullets. And the judge actually interrupted and testified. I mean, he, Illy can maybe correct me for me if I'm incorrect. I'm not a legal expert, but it certainly seemed to me like the judge was testifying in Rittenhouse's place and tried to make it seem like the prosecutor was incorrect in the way that he was discussing ammunition. The judge seemed to be trying to downplay the extra lethality of hollow point bullets. So that is the larger context. And I also think that we can't separate, even though the jury has to do so, we as the public, we as the larger society cannot separate what is happening in Wisconsin from what is happening in Georgia with the Ahmaud Arbery case, what is happening in Charlottesville, where residents of Virginia are suing the Nazis and white supremacists who descended on their city in 2017, and doing so.
That's enough. Since it froze, I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna have to go out.
System has not really done enough.
So Salakia, and this too should tell you something else. That's why we've often stated that we have to get the hell up out of here. Here it is, someone that's supposed to be impartial, that being the judge, has surely as you can hear and see with those clips, he's partial towards this kid. Well, he's not a kid, all right? He's telling the jurors, all right, you can't, well, he's telling the prosecutors you can't, but he's also telling the jurors that you can't consider the people that were murdered victims. And as she just stated, when questioned about the ammunition, the judge steps in for him. I mean, this is bullshit. That's why we often say you can't put... Let me rephrase that before I even... You're a fool to put your faith and your trust in this wicked piece of shit's system. Especially his judicial system. All right? I mean, haven't we as a people had enough? Evidently not. Because a lot of you aren't sick and tired of being sick and tired, as they say. You actually want to stay in this piece of shit. This is a prison. This is a place of punishment for we the Israelites. All right? And you've got to have that Isaiah. Let me get it. You got to have this mindset that, let's see. Right here, this is Isaiah chapter 51, verse 14. The captive exile, which we are, hasteneth that he may be loosed. Loosed from what? And that he should not die in the pit. Another word for pit is system. This system was created to keep us in check. And by in check, a lot of people still to this day amongst our people consider themselves free, not realizing, not understanding what the Emancipation Proclamation was all about. We were never freed, we were just transferred. And that transfer was from private ownership, i.e. the master's plantation, and we became wards of the government. What do you think the Civil War was really about? All right, you got to consider the elite banksters. Who was a threat to them? You got all these, Joe Bobs and whatever have you down south that had all this free labor, generational. They didn't want them on par, on their level. So what happened? So yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff going on, and for time's sake I can't go into it about the Daughters of the Confederacy and how they influenced the school system since the turn of the 20th century to make it the Confederates look like people felt sorry for them. They romanticized them, pieces of shit. All right. Don't matter which side, they're both wicked and evil. So enough of this, well, I chose the lesser evil. It's still evil. All right, like you idiots got tricked with this last election. And now look what's happening. All right, we need to get the fuck up out of here. This man is never going to change. All right, ultimately he wants that birthright back when you understand what's really going on. This has been a war between the descendants of Jacob, which is us, and the descendants of Jacob's brother Esau, who are the nation of Edom. All right. So you're about to see, and not in the far too distant future, this devil's horns and his teeth show. All right, because he's played this game with this, trying to get everybody to get vaccinated. All right, and it's not working. The carrot portion of it, the guile, the trying to be slick, that part is not working like he expected. So now he's going to have to resort, all right, to his other blessing, which is the actual sword. All right, and he's going to come down like it tells you in 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16, from 70 on down. Yeah, Isaiah 59 and was it 14 or 15? Hold on, let me get that real quick, because he's trying to get this new world order. And for those of you that still think that's a fantasy, oh, let's see. Let's see. Here it is. In 19, it says, "So shall they fear the name of the Most High Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. The Spirit of the Most High Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him." All right. There's a reason I say for the last, I don't know how long now, about this is the reason Daniel 12 is in there. When it tells you the Archangel Michael himself will have to stand up, all right, for his people. Daniel 12 and 1. It's going to be like no other time that has ever been on this planet. This is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered. everyone that shall be found written in the book. So this is about the elect, all right? Because a whole lot of Israelites are not going to make it. It's not going to be like ancient Egypt, all right, where everybody got out. And the majority of them died basically going in circles in the desert. All right, it ain't going to happen like that. So, yeah, this is why we keep telling our people, now's the time to get right. This is what grace, that period, is meant for. Not so you can do everything you want to do. No, it's to get yourself right with Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right. Hey, so with that, once again, I was showing you a clip from Democracy Now! Concerning, and that's something else. Let me see if I still got it. The article from The Nation, I don't know why it keeps, the guy that was speaking, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see. There it is. Okay. Let's see. This is The Nation magazine. I'm trying to get the article. Let's see. Here it is. Name cat with the white afro. Here's the article here from thenation.com. I'll put this link in the description box. It says, I hope everyone is prepared for Kyle Rittenhouse to go free. And look at that smug bastard. All right. So this is what he was making reference to. He said he called it 2 weeks before he even started. So I'll post this link here. And anyway, hey, so with that, I hope everyone who views this is edified. That's what we aim to do here at Great Millstone. Filter everything through the scriptures as it should be. All right. So you'll know, hey, time is getting short here. Hey, so with that, shalom, shalom.